Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Diplomats Desk. I am your host Meet Shah. Let me begin with a clarification. China's foreign policy is not what Western headlines describes, and it is not what Indian TV debates usually argue about. To understand China in late 2025, you must listen to China talking to itself, not to outsiders. So everything I will say today is drawn from Chinese Communist Party documents, speeches by Xi Jinping, and People's Daily Editorials, Xinhua policy explainers, Global Times strategic commentaries, then translated, decoded, and tested against reality. In Chinese official language, China's foreign policy is framed as using Chinese style modernization to advance a community of shared future of mankind. This phrase appears dozens of times in 2024-2025 Chinese media. What does it actually mean? Decoded, it means four things. The Chinese Communist Party political system is non-negotiable. China rejects Western political conditionality. Global rules must adapt to China's rise, not restrict it. Security comes before integration. This is the philosophical foundation. Everything else flows from it. Let's move from ideology to actionable objectives. Objective 1. Lock in strategic depth around China's periphery. Chinese military and foreign policy journals repeatedly use this phrase, peripheral security environment. This includes Taiwan, South China Sea, Himalayas, Korean Peninsula, Central Asia. China's goal is not peace, it's predictability under Chinese leverage. That is why China builds permanent infrastructure near the LAC, maintains dialogue without resolution with India, uses petrol maps and lawfare in maritime zones. For Beijing, unresolved disputes are levers, not failures. Second objective, prevent strategic encirclement by the US and allies. Chinese media openly discusses counter encirclement. This is not paranoia, it is a doctrine. From Beijing's perspective, Quad, Australia, UK, US alliance, US, Japan, Philippines alignment, NATO outreach in Asia form a containment arc. China's response is not direct confrontation, it is fragment alliances, exploit divergence, offer economic alternatives, punish frontline states selectively. India sits in an uncomfortable middle here. Objective 3. Control the narrative of global governance. In 2025, Chinese media repeatedly emphasizes on fairness, non-ideological, anti-hegemony. China wants the world to accept that Western dominance is not equals to international order. This is why China aggressively promotes its own AI governance frameworks, development financings without governance conditions, security concepts that prioritize regime stability. This is non-warfare, not diplomacy. Objective 4. Convert economic weight into political obedience. Chinese planners openly discuss economic security. China now uses market access, supply chains, investment approvals, tourism, student flows as a foreign policy tools. This is not accidental. It is called comprehensive national power. Objective 5. Buy time for internal challenges. Here's something Chinese media does not say openly but hints at. China is managing demographic decline, property sector stress, local government debt, slowing productivity. Foreign policy is being used to avoid simultaneous external crises, prevent capital flight, preserve regime legitimacy. This makes China risk aware but not risk averse. Now, what this means for India. Let's focus exclusively on India. First, the border, why China will not settle with India. Chinese military analysts describe the India border as low intensity, controllable, and non escalatory. This is deliberate. China benefits from keeping India militarily engaged, raising India's defense expenditures, limiting India's westward and maritime focus, testing Indian political reserve periodically. China does not want war, but it does want tactical advantage, psychological pressure, strategic distraction. India's current response, which we are seeing, infrastructure parity, forward deployment, diplomatic engagement without concession, quiet capability building. This is a long game, not a crisis cycle. Second, trade and technology. Why decoupling will never be total. Chinese media describes India as important but unreliable economic partner. China wants access to India's market, participation in India's manufacturing growth, influence over technical standards. India wants reduced dependency, secure supply chains, and domestic capability. The result is selective engagement, cooperation in non strategic sectors, restrictions in digital telecom, critical tech, political screening of investment. This is not hostility, it is a mutual suspicion institutionalized. Now let's talk about the Indian Ocean, China's slow and patient expansion. Chinese naval journalists frequently mention that far seas protection capability. Translation is China intends to operate sustainably in Indian Ocean. Not domination, just presence. Not basis, access to it. Not confrontation, normalizations. India must assume persistent PLA Navy presence, dual use port access, intelligence collections, crisis time leverage. India's advantage is geography, China's advantage is patience. Now let's talk about South Asia. China's approach to India's neighborhood is transactional. China's Chinese analysts openly say smaller states want strategic autonomy, not alignment. China offers infrastructure, diplomatic cover, alternative financing. India offers geographical, cultural depth, long-term integration. This is competition of delivery, not ideology. India cannot win by rhetoric, only by speed, scale, and reliability. Now, in forums like SCO and BRICS, China wants leadership recognition, India wants agenda balance. China pushes sovereignty framing that favors authoritarian stability, dilution of terrorism definition, avoidance of explicit naming. India pushes for clear terrorism language, Indo Pacific inclusion, strategic pluralism. These forums are not useless, they are containment mechanisms. The United States wants India as balancing force, a technological partner, a democratic counterweight, but India will not accept alliance discipline. China understands this and tries to exploit it. China sees Russia as a strategic rear support, energy buffer, anti-Western partner. India sees Russia as a legacy partner and relevant for futures. Managing this triangle requires constant calibration. As Europe and Japan de-risk from China, India gains leverage. But leverage only matters if policy is predictable, infrastructure works, contracts are honored, geopolitics rewards competence. Now, if you want to anticipate China India dynamics, watch these signals. First, Chinese infrastructure saturation near LAC. Second, PLA Navy logistics agreements in Indian Ocean. Third, China's position on AI and data standards. Then Chinese language on Asian security architectures. Then narrative shifts in people's daily about India. And China's engagement with India's neighbors during Indian elections. These are early warning indicators. China's foreign policy is cold, patient, and power centric. It is not emotional, not reactive, not improvisational. India's challenge is not to outplay China, but to outlast strategic pressures without strategic drift. This requires economic strength, military credibility, diplomatic maturity, internal coherence. In geopolitics, the most dangerous illusion is comfort, and the greatest advantage is clarity. If you found this analysis helpful, hit like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this. See you in the next one.